Welcome back to the beginner's course for consultants. So in previous lessons I explained how to find a niche as a consultant, how to differentiate yourself versus your competitors, and also how to go through various courses in order to obtain certificates and knowledge for your specific consultancy. Now, before you start defining what are your consulting packages or services that you intend to offer, first you have to know what kind of tools and know-how you can actually obtain, because this will also influence on what your offering towards your customers will be. So in this lesson I'll explain what kind of templates you can obtain for your consultancy, also what kind of tools you will be able to use to serve your customers, and finally what kind of know-how you will need actually to become successful. So after you watch this lesson, you'll have a clear idea on what kind of templates and tools and know-how will be the most important and the most appropriate for your consultancy. So out of these three templates are probably the simplest, but also the most widespread, let's say, tool that you will be using for your consultancy, especially if you're dealing with frameworks that are based on governance. So ISO standards, NIS2, DORA, ISO 42001, and so on. And there are templates for business use, like invoices, reports, proposals, contracts, these kind of things. But what is much more important are templates for the specific framework with which you're working with. For example, for ISO 27001 cybersecurity standards, you'll need a risk management methodology, you'll need statement of applicability, you'll need a top-level information security policy, you will need various cybersecurity policies like access control policy, classification policy, backup policy, and so on. But you might also need procedures like incident management procedures, document control procedure, and so on. Now, of course, you can build your own set of templates, especially if you have experience with these frameworks, or you can simply find a vendor who is specialized in building these kind of templates for a particular industry, for a particular standard. Now, for tools, you have at least two different types of tools. One are these collaboration tools, and the other one are operational tools, basically the tools that help you actually do whatever your consultancy is focused on. So about collaboration tools, I actually have a lesson that is dedicated to explaining these tools in my advanced course for consultants. And this is a lesson actually where I explain what are the techniques of doing the consulting work remotely. But let me just briefly mention what kind of tools you can use. So for managing tasks and projects, you can use tools like Monday, Notion, Asana. For managing files, you can use SharePoint or Box or Dropbox. For communicating with your clients, you can use Microsoft Teams, Slack, or something similar. Now, some people ask me if you can use, let's say, WhatsApp for communicating with clients. This is usually not the case because you need some more professional tool. However, if you're doing some large-scale exercises with your clients, then WhatsApp might be actually a good solution. Or also, if you want to have some kind of an informal question and answer forum, then you can also do it through WhatsApp. So in most cases, no, but for these particular cases, perhaps yes. And then there are these operational tools, and there are several types. So there are tools that actually help you implement a particular framework and maintain it. Usually these tools are called GRC software or governance, risk and compliance software. And this kind of software helps you actually with assessing all the risks, defining controls, writing policies and procedures, automating many activities, evidence collection, and so on. Then there are training tools or training platforms where you have big libraries of videos and other training materials. And you can use these kind of platforms to distribute automatically these materials towards your students, your users, and also to automatically track their attendance. Of course, you can also use these kind of tools to test your students and to upload your own materials and then distribute them towards your users. And then there are very other different types of tools. For example, auditing tools. Then there are tools published by various professional bodies or government bodies, like, for example, ENISA, this European Cybersecurity Agency, publishes various cybersecurity tools on their website that you can actually use as a consultant. And we in Advisera have published this Experta tool, which is basically an AI-based tool that is here to help consultants. And then besides these templates and tools, you will also need know-how on how to perform consulting work. And by know-how, I the knowledge on, for example, what are the steps on implementing certain projects, or how to adapt the training program for a specific, let's say, industry or for a particular standard. So, for example, how to create a training program that is directly related to DORA, cybersecurity regulation, for example, for smaller banks. And also knowing how you will adapt a similar training program for, let's say, for large brokerage houses. So basically this is the matter of know-how or knowledge of how you will actually perform all of this work. And you can obtain this know-how through various courses, books, webinars, and other materials. And this is where we in Advisera are really making a big effort actually to provide our clients, our consultants actually with all of this know-how. So not only templates and tools, but also the know-how that needs to go with these templates and tools. And this course that you're watching actually is one example of such a know-how. And by the way, in this course, in the following lessons, I'll also explain what are the steps that are needed for an implementation project as a consultant, or for a training project, also for doing the internal audit projects and so on. Okay, I hope this was helpful, and let me know in the comments below if you have any questions about how to obtain these templates and tools and know-how, and I'll answer as quick as I can. And here are a couple of materials that will help you learn more about this topic. So first of all, you can sign up for this advanced course for consultants, where you will learn in more depth about how to build your consulting business. And we will actually be launching a series of workshops as part of this advanced course. And in these workshops, we will teach consultants on how to use various Advisera's tools. Second, I host this Secure and Simple podcast. And in this podcast, I actually interview successful consultants so that other consultants can learn from them on how they can become successful as well. And very often these people actually explain what kind of tools they're using so that they can actually grow their consultancy. And as I mentioned already, Advisera also provides these templates for various standards. So we have these consultant toolkits with a complete set of templates for basically all of these ISO standards and cybersecurity and other frameworks. And we also provide this GRC tool called Conformio, which can actually help you speed up the work with your clients. And as part of this know-how transfer towards our consultants, we also do these one-on-one workshops, courses, and various other materials. And in the next lesson of this course, I'll explain how to package your consulting services so that they are attractive for your potential clients, and that you actually merge into these packages not only the tools that you're using, but also your specific knowledge, your specific expertise for your particular niche. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and you can also subscribe to my YouTube channel not to miss any of my new videos, and I publish videos about cybersecurity and compliance every week. Thanks for watching!